Hey guys, welcome to Under the Influencer. I am Love from Come Fly with Love and Sky Pirates Productions. On Under the Influencer, I get to interview social media personalities from all across the aviation industry where my guests and I help provide insight and inspiration on how to build and grow your personal and professional brands. So today I have pilots Jackson and Jordan, founders of Project Greenwing, an environmental conservation organization. And in this episode, these guys talk about how it is essential to have a social media page and to unite the world with one message, and that strength is in the numbers. So true. As they say, it's how they make an impact. It's how we make an impact. We also talk about how social media keeps you accountable and how to focus and grow your audience. Hey guys, so we are here with Jackson and Jordan of Project Greenwings. Guys, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay. So you guys are doing something really big, something great, something that will exponentially be greater in a couple of years, 10 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years down the road, right?
That's the plan, at least for now. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
You go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We are Project Greenwings. We're just a flight crew organization that's based around promoting and spreading eco-friendly activities in the aviation industry, particularly in the airline industry, starting with flight crew members, trying to start like from the ground up grassroots initiative to get flight crew members to be a little bit more eco-conscious in their daily work practices and what they're doing when they're in hotels, bringing reusable water bottles, just trying to spread eco-friendly initiatives across the industry, to kind of organize around that.
And how did you guys get started?
I'll get that one. We flew a trip together about maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and Jordan was just brainstorming this idea. And I was like, this sounds awesome. And then after that, it's aviation. You fly a trip, you don't see each other for another 3 months, 6 months, whatever it may be. So then I just went our separate ways. And then like 6 months later, I was trying to be more sustainable in my own life and just kind of making conscious choices. Then I messaged him out of the blue and was just like, are you still trying to do this thing? And he hadn't made a whole lot of progress on it yet. It was just him thinking. And then we started putting some ideas on paper and making like actionable steps. And from there, it's grown. It's been backset a little bit by COVID, but the industry is getting a little bit better now as we're moving through the end of 2020. And we're starting to see some progress again.
That's awesome. So you guys obviously work for the same airline. And what are some of the things that made you want to start becoming more, I guess, eco-friendly, more aware of the earth and her environment and your efforts?
So for me, like I always wanted to be a pilot or be in aviation. It's always been something important to me. But as I got a little bit older and started becoming more like, I started hiking, getting more in touch with nature. I was like, do they have to be mutually exclusive? Does the aviation always have to impact and negatively influence, like the environment? And that was always like a source of conflict personally. And then of course, moving into the industry, seeing all the trash that's just generated on your daily flight, and then you think about that trash and single-use plastic that's generated across the industry, the number of flights that are happening every day, it's kind of staggering. And I think for us, it was really easy to realize like there's a lot we can do just on our level from a daily practice level. It's like, I don't have to throw this into the trash. I can throw this into the recycling when I'm working. And if everyone just thought a little bit more about like, hey, I could bring a reusable water bottle instead of using single-use plastics or things like that, there's some real room for growth in an idea like that. And if enough people start doing that, you can really have a big impact. And I think that was basically the seed of the idea of what if there's an eco-friendly flight crew organization, So
That's amazing.
Yeah,
What an amazing initiative.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's some great efforts. Like I was personally inspired a little bit by looking at like what United Airlines is doing with their Eco Skies program and seeing some of these top-down initiatives. You know, in Alaska does some great things too. So I was like, what if there was something from the ground up, you know, and or I started reaching out trying to join something if there was something like that out there. Like, oh, nothing's out there yet, so I guess we're gonna have to make it. And yeah, Jackson came at it with like a tour de force. He was like, let's do this, it's happening. And it's like I'd just been sitting on the ideas and he kicked me in the butt to get this thing going. So
that's amazing. So in the grand scheme of things, you know, like I don't know what kind of planes do you guys fly on?
We work for SkyWest Airlines, both of us actually. So we fly at the moment the ERJ 175. So regional jets, smaller, so 75 seaters.
Sure, and it's amazing how much trash, you know, that you can see that just goes to waste, right? That's not compostable, right?
mm-hmm.
When I've flown on, you know, 777, much bigger aircrafts, and you see how much, and especially having been to India, you know, you know, place third world, you can see polluting the plastic polluting what's supposed to be a beach. You can tell how much impact we're making with one bottle at a time, you know. One bottle per person. And I was on a flight, you know, 777 flight, you just collect and collect and collect every 5 minutes. We go through the cabin and just collect. But it makes you think, you know, where is this all going? And then it really impacts you, you know. My daughter is so visco, like no plastic. She takes plastic that she uses, she takes it home and then she cuts it up.
Wow.
Save the turtles.
That's so good. We need more of that.
It's just the education and the availability of resources. I appreciate you guys and what you're doing. United last year, and this is not to promote United, but it was something that I was a part of. There was this flight called Flight for the Planet, where it was so eco-friendly. We used biofuel. United used biofuel. United used most of their utensils and food. Everything served was 100% biodegradable.
Wow.
Like 100%. The trash, we weighed it. I think it weighed up to 14.5 pounds, the whole plane. Like we dumped everything out. I did work this flight. I was
I read about
nerding out.
That's amazing.
We read about. That's amazing. You were involved with that.
And you have no idea. I mean, I'm an eco nerd, so I geeked out just being on the flight, staring at the coffee cups that didn't have the plastic inside, that were 100% recyclable.
Wow.
It's the first flight that they were able to use that. And a lot of people think that's the thing. Like, I mean, and this is where I might overtake where you guys are headed, but a lot of people think because of the media and everything, you know, you think that, you know, they spend how many trillions of dollars marketing the fact that many of these, that we are okay, we're good, but we're not, you know. And so I really believe in what you guys are doing, and you know, just the efforts are putting in just to help, you know, in your organization. So, but anyway, yeah, as far as planet, I mean, you talk about the trash. I mean, 14.5 pounds. That's it. The whole flight.
Wow.
Yeah, that flight showed it's possible. And I know it's a long way away from that being every flight, but if they just keep changing out things like the coffee stir sticks and make them bamboo, and then maybe change the coffee cups and just one thing at a time, it's not going to hit the pockets of whatever airline it may be too hard. And we want to kind of be a cultural force that's accelerating that process and that progress.
That's great. That's amazing. So what are the, you guys started in 2019 with your Instagram account. What made you go on Instagram? Or
I feel like it's the place. Well, it's that. So a major component of this is, of what we want to do is an education component, and we are strong in our numbers. There's so many of us, and so many have so much potential to make that impact just through a quick little change of behavior. So like, how do you reach out to people? It's like, well, Instagram's the way to do it. Yeah, like that's, you can catch people. There's so many great influencers in the aviation industry that are in Instagram, and they're like, spreading good messages. And we're like, if we can use some of that ability to not only like, gather a following and get like spread some of the information, but also just like educate. Like a big part of what we want to do is just in little digestible Instagram posts, be like, hey, did you know this is recyclable? Or did you know that the average single like coffee cup that has the wax lining isn't recyclable? Some things just to kind of spread good information about like what is digestible, and do it in pretty, Instagram digestible little bite sizes of knowledge. And there's such a good community already there. And it just seemed like such a ripe, that's like, we have to go there. Even though we're not experts by any means.
Right, but you would be amazed. Like you think that, a lot of this is redundant and a lot of the information is out there, but a lot of people don't know, like even, in flight, you don't know that there are certain measures that you think are healthy, that are environmentally healthy, that are not. There are certain measures that you think that are helping that again are not, or that you don't think will help, and it helps tremendously because, it's just one person, but one person makes a million makes 2 and 3 and 4 million, and so I believe in that. And then, so what have you guys, so you guys decided to head toward marketing immediately because you knew that this would be your tool, so on social media. Who have been the people that you guys have targeted?
We're mostly targeting flight crews at the moment because they're the people we know can make the biggest difference. As far as marketing, we had a few friends that are already kind of influencers. We're trying to reach out to them and just get their followership on board too. So we get them, we'll send them a water bottle. If they buy into the idea and they're all about it, we can get them a water bottle. They can take it around. That's one more water bottle being used rather than disposable. And they can like post a photo, share the love, share the message.
Sure, great. And how has this, have you been able to get any partnerships with your airline, with other airlines, any aviation companies?
We were working towards it, and we were very close to, we were having like a meeting with management of SkyWest. That was scheduled on March 13th, Friday the 13th, right before the pandemic hit. Like the pandemic hit like the next day. So we should have seen that one coming, being Friday the 13th. But then we got, obviously the airlines went into panic mode a little bit since then. So now we're trying to reestablish those lines of communication.
Yeah, we had some reach out with a chief pilot from Delta Airlines too, that wanted to talk about some policy procedure. Again, it all was just, everything was just blooming right as like March hit, and then things slowed down a lot. But that's something that's really a big focus for us as well, because it's a coordinated effort. Each person has an impact, and it matters a ton, and empowering that person to realize that their decisions are important. But if we can also get the airline to support those positive decisions, it's a win-win. And also airlines are getting pressure to be more eco-friendly these days from their investors, from the community that wants to invest in socially responsible practices. They also, it turns out, actually, you would save more money. We even did like some small calculations just within our own airline, that if we got even 25% of our flight crew members to reduce their water bottle consumption, single use, by 50%, it could save our company somewhere between $80,000 to $90,000 in just overhead costs on water bottles. So it's also not only being eco-friendly is good for the environment, but it also can be good for the wallet as well for some of these airlines that are operating massive scale and are generating tons of single-use items.
Yeah, for those of you out there who don't know what that may mean, as a flight attendant, you open one each packet of cups, it comes in a packet of, I think, 25 or 50, let's say 25. And say all the cups are packed and you need that extra one. And instead of having your own cup, you have to break into a pack. So when you take that one cup just for that, when you break that package for that one cup, the rest goes to waste. That's a wasted packet. And there are tons of wasted packets that get thrown out for safety purposes, right? For cleanliness, it has to be thrown away. It can't be reused, so let that sit with you, whether it's napkins or food, or I saw somewhere on your website. Let's talk about your website. I love how you guys mentioned different initiatives that we can take as flight crew and as people and as passengers. Great stuff, because it's stuff that you're great with informing, but a lot of people just may not know. And so maybe they're just waiting for that one site to help them go greener, or that one site to help them start to go green, because they actually see the difference, through your site, And so I loved how you guys mentioned ways that flight crew can make a difference, and can just, I guess, start being eco-friendly. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to say that you're green. There's some people who are just totally opposed to it. That doesn't mean you have to go 100% green, but just one small initiative, So one of them is, briefing your crews. Tell me about that. What would you say?
So as the crews, as we all meet up to begin our trip, and real quick note on that, all of these ideas have come from other flight crew members, and that's the most beautiful thing about it. We're like, what do you think we could do to be a little more eco-friendly? And your idea about like how you have to open that one extra, just to get that a whole bag, just to get that one extra cup, thinking about things like that conscious thought and ideas of how we can get around that is exactly how all these practices start to formulate. We're like, that's a great idea. That's what people light up. But as far as like the briefing goes, there's a lot you can, like when you're establishing that initial communication with your flight crews for the first time, if you just say a few things like, hey, I'm trying to be a little bit more eco-friendly on this flight. If you guys have any great ideas for ways that we can be a little bit more eco-friendly, or highlight the people that are like, hey, I saw you have a reusable water bottle. That's awesome. Or, hey, maybe up in the flight deck, we could have an extra bag where we put recyclables that we know are completely recyclable, and we'll separate it from the trash. If you just set that tone and kind of spread that idea, it's amazing to watch people, because they light up and they're like, oh, I got an idea. What if we try to, make an announcement, pre-COVID, obviously, like to hang on to your cups and we'll pour some more water in there.
Sure.
Or just everyone just has an idea, and that's it. We don't want it to be political. We don't want it to be, we just want it to be positive and just an idea, and let people, as they chew on it, they start thinking of like ways that they can contribute. And it's fun watching over the course of, say, like a 4-day trip with flight crews. By day one, they're like, okay, this guy's kind of weird. He's like pushing some eco-friendly stuff. Like, this guy's a little loopy. But by day 4, they're like, I got this idea. Like at the hotel, what if we bring a reusable shampoo bottle? Or like, what if you make sure you always return your card to the front so it doesn't get thrown away by the cleaning service? They're just thinking things like that. It's amazing to watch people's ideas light up. So really just the biggest part is like communicating the idea and being positive and open about it. And it grows. The idea grows by itself. It seems like it's amazing. So.
And you know why? Because it's effortless. It truly is effortless. It's just having another solution to do the same thing. I love one of your pieces of advice, which was to, if your trash isn't full, then don't ask for an extra trash bag. Like, I'm crazy about plastic. There's no reason to have excessive use of plastic, but people use it so much and they dispose it, like it just evaporates into thin air, and it does the opposite, so I love that one, because a lot of times guys up front we'll just throw a trash bag with maybe 1 or 2 or a few pieces of paper in it. It's like, I don't want to be dirty and take it out. but it's like, had you just piled it, you know, that would have
Mhm.
helped, right? And so have you guys flown with people who have been a little, who have looked at you
Oh,
sideways?
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Um,
Jackson.
mm, it's an aging industry, we would say, for the people up front. A lot of the pilots are older, and this movement we have is definitely aimed more at millennials in the future of aviation. It's pretty hard to change a lot of these guys' minds, but if you can get them doing one little thing, like I've got a few of the older guys to bring water bottles, mainly out of now during COVID, we have those small little designy bottles. They're even smaller than they used to be. So you're drinking like 4 a day, even worse for the environment. But for them, it's kind of a nuisance to constantly have to get a new one. So out of convenience to them, I'm like, you should try bring your own water bottle. It's way easier. I'll fill it up for you. You can offer that as well to save them
Yeah.
walking. So even if it's not for the exact right reason, they are getting on board to some degree. But a lot of the time you do get that sideways stare, like this young guy is crazy.
And
Yeah. Occasionally we'll get like people that are like, oh, if you want to go green, why don't you just stop flying? And we're like, okay, that's a nice idea. Like, you know, because like the CO2 output, but that's,
sure.
you know, it's kind of a low resolution idea. It's like we have electricity, we have fire, these things that have made humanity amazing. Of course, people get hurt from these things also, but we don't want to go back to a world without it. Like we, as flight crew members, we know how amazing that aviation is. It connects the world, you know. And right now in the state that it's at, it generates a lot of trash, but that doesn't mean we can't make improvements on the inside. We don't just, you know, give up on it. Yeah, like we can't. Yeah, so you definitely run into some folks that are just like, okay, I don't know about that. And a lot of it's like information, like misinformation or
Sure.
misunderstanding of like what is actually recyclable and what
Mm-hmm.
isn't, and you know how much of an impact is that actually making. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, where we're trying to work with airport operations and crew member. We just spoke with the Minneapolis airport recycling management lead, and he was telling us a whole list of things like people try to throw this away, it ends up doing more damage than good. Like there's a concept with some of these folks that are like, it's called wish cycling, where you hope this is recyclable, and you just like, oh, I'll just toss it in there, and it ends up contaminating the batch of the recycling that they're handling. And I think I've been guilty of it for sure. I'd be like, oh, I'm sure they'll figure out something to do with this. So getting good information, I think, is the way to connect, but you definitely have to be a little careful with some people. You know, you don't jam it down their throat always. You keep it positive and lighthearted, and yeah. But yes, to answer your
I'm
question, a lot.
giggling because, like, side note, I'm giggling because on the plane, people don't know that when you have a water bottle, and I take everyone's water bottle, I'm very fanatic about it. I will go through and I'll just take my time, and it allows me to go back and forth. I'm not one of those flight attendants that sit in the galley and just sit and or gossip in the back. I'm constantly moving, right? So I'll take their water bottle, and if they put something in it, I freak out. I'm like, do you know you can't recycle this? Like you can't put stuff inside because now it's totally like you totally wasted the whole effort. And I was like, do you know the and they look at me and they're just like, oh. But then it's information for them, you know?
Mhm.
Like when
Yeah.
that person first got mad at me. And so I appreciate your side. I appreciate everything about it, the information and just the content and the initiative in itself. Do you guys have roles in regards to your social media account? Like what if, for marketing, who decides to do what? Are there just two of you, or are there other people involved? Tell us more.
We
Jackson.
got Jordan's fiance, Danny, is involved, and she's been a huge help. Jordan and I definitely we're not big on the social media, so this is a learning process for us. I mean, we're pilots by trade, and then now we're trying to like grow this social media platform, and it's a good cause that people get behind it. But at the start, especially, we were clueless. We're doing a lot of Google research.
Yeah.
We're talking to people that already have established accounts, and we're learning, and we're slowly learning. But Danny, Jordan's fiance, helps a lot. But
Yeah,
there's no
she's a
real defined roles yet. As far as we kind of just talk through everything. If it's like a promising lead, or if we want to make a big move, we'll kind of talk it through. We have a weekly call where everyone catches up and kind of runs through what the plan is for the next week.
I would say,
sounds
just
great.
to add that, so my fiance, Danielle, she has a little bit of a background. She's not in the industry, but she used to work for an organic food supplement company, and she would set up the social media marketing amongst influencers. So she would find people that it was vegan, it was a vegan protein company, and she would reach out to influencers that were either in the fitness industry that were also vegan, and she could search and find influencers and organize deals, you know, and be like, hey, if you guys promote our stuff, we can help you, you know, we can spread this, we'll send you some free products and things like that. And so she has a little bit of experience, like finding the right people, because that's what's really nice about Instagram is you can find the exact right, it's precision. You can aim exactly towards a specific audience, which is really nice. Instead of just like a commercial on TV or something. You're like, hey, join this, and it's like doesn't relate to 90% of the people, but you can actually find people that are specific to your industry. And so she's been a massive resource. But Jackson, don't sell yourself short. He's been organizing and structuring and scheduling our posts and finding great you know, positive examples of what's going on in the industry already. And kind of organizing a lot of this. So, but yeah, it's definitely a learning experience to say the least.
That's amazing. And let's go into fun stuff. How have you guys, I guess, how have your personal lives changed since you've opened up your, I guess, your social media account, as well as, you know, being involved with this? Because essentially you guys are going to become true, you know, public figures. So
that's the goal.
It's go ahead, Jackson.
You go.
Yeah, I would say it's it's definitely like, oh, you're the green pilot guy that's like trying to push this stuff, and you know, and sometimes there's some reservations. Like we literally stick out a little bit because, as you can see, it's Jackson is Exhibit A. We have some green lanyards we're wearing, and we have green water bottles. We have this weird green color concept going, which yeah, so it already like raises an eyebrow when people see like that, but. As far as I guess we haven't felt it too much yet, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting adaptation, but I feel like it's an idea that everybody can get by. So once, you know, I think we're both very approachable and easy to going about this stuff, and you know, don't get offended if someone's like, hey, you know, we can't do anything. Like, actually, you know, we can handle ourselves a little bit with that, but yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear your perspective on that, honestly, because you're more. Yeah, I'm curious how that does work out, honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's great and it's not great. I have some people that say, "Oh, let me introduce somebody to you. This is Love. She's great. She has a daughter. She likes this," and it gets a little freaky. You're just like, "Oh, you know a lot about me." But I have become a public figure because I've opened up my life to a lot of people in the hopes of sharing and helping them, you know, and being there for them. And I guess if you just look at it, there are positives and negatives in everything in life. And if you just focus on the positives, then that's all you receive. You know, if you shy back because you're afraid or you're fearful, or you focus on the negatives, it will happen, you know? So either way, it's a win-win, right? And so I think that if you're doing something great, then you have more to lose by not sharing that information, whatever information there is to help people, than not, you know? So that's bigger for me.
Absolutely. And I think when it comes down to it, like I was making changes in my own life the last few years, like trying to reduce my plastic use at home, and then I'll master that, and then I'll move on to the next thing. And like wish cycling was something I did, which we spoke about before, and like now I'm learning like, all right, that actually wasn't recyclable, and I've been recycling that for the last 3 years improperly. But then if I can make one other person start to make those steps, then I've doubled my impact. And if 3 other people triple my impact, and that's what makes it really big, I think. And that's what inspires us to try and grow as big as we can, because we know that it's a good message we're trying to set. And the bigger that outreach, the better the impact's going to be for the industry and the earth and the world going forward.
You know, it's something that I wanted to add to Jordan. You know, like we're sharing a part of our lives, but it also helps us keep ourselves accountable. You know, like I'm going green, so now you have to really go green, right?
Oh man, yeah, you are held to the gun there. You're like, oh man, I was, you know, if like my fiance even, she's like, are you really about to throw that in the trash? It's like, oh, I got busted there. Yeah, you know, nothing like some positive pressure in your life to really perform. Now you got it. Like if you, yeah, exactly. It's good though. It's like, it's a good pressure, even if it's exhausting.
It is a good
and annoying.
pressure.
But that's that's the concept. And it's not like it's not someone breathing down your neck, which is nice. It's like, I have a responsibility to the people, to Earth, and to the people that are in this organization to be the best example of this concept and these ideas. So don't slack off, do it, you know, like even when you don't want to, even if you're like, okay, I have this like cup and I have to walk all the way to this other part of the airport to go recycle it because there's not very many recycling bins, like do it, you'll get the steps in, try to see the positives of it, you know. But
right.
I can definitely relate to that. No,
that's great.
Not always easy.
It's not, but it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
What is the craziest proposition you guys have ever had on social media?
I'm not too sure. Probably this. This is our first podcast.
Yeah, so, I would say this is really.
We're still in the very early stages. I would like to think, like the absolute infant stages of what this can become. So we haven't anything too crazy yet, but yeah, this has been fun. This is a cool opportunity.
That's awesome. Yay! Yay! I'll take that. Well, definitely, you know, like you guys, thank you so much for sitting with me and just sharing with me your efforts, your initiative, and just what you guys are doing for not just everybody else and the earth, but for something as dear to me, for something so dear to me. I have a daughter. She's still 8 years old. She's still I don't know if you saw that video that I made. You know, she plays in the trees. She's very outdoorsy, and you know, I think, what do we do for her children? What do we do for her? Will she, as thalassophiles as I am, loving the water and constantly being outdoors and breathing in that fresh air, will she be able to do that at my age? You know, right. And I think this is when we need to be responsible. We do need to just say that it's no longer an option, it's a responsibility, you know. And so this is our time now. It is our responsibility. It's due that we make these efforts and these changes, because who's not to say we will live another 40 years, and when we're 90, 80, 70 years old, what kind of air do we want to breathe, and what kind of water do we want to swim in, or at least tickle our feet with, you know? And so I appreciate what you guys are doing. I appreciate the efforts you shared, and the work that you're sharing with me, with opening up your social media account and what social media can actually do for a great organization, an organization that's helping not just an airline or a group, but the whole world. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely see you soon. Thanks, Jackson and Jordan.
Much.
Thank you
for what you do as well. All right. Absolutely. Thank you, love.